Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to explore a really foundational concept from our source material, gratitude as the heart of service. Today we're taking a closer look at exactly how we view our faithful service, and honestly, the driving motivations behind it. It's a topic that can completely transform how you approach your daily life. Because let's face it, keeping up a spiritual routine can sometimes feel pretty exhausting if we're looking at it through the wrong lens. When we lose sight of the why behind the what, well, our service can quickly turn into a spiritual treadmill. So today we're going to reframe that perspective and see how finding the right motivation changes absolutely everything.
So, why do we really serve God? I want you to take a second and honestly think about the emotional weight of that question. When your alarm goes off and you wake up for your ministry, or when you go totally out of your way to help someone in the congregation, what's the actual driving force behind that action? Does it feel like a joyous, natural response? Does it literally put a spring in your step? Or, if we're being completely honest with ourselves here, does it occasionally feel like a heavy obligation? A box that just absolutely has to be checked. It's a profound question, and figuring out the answer gets right to the core of our spiritual routine. Understanding this difference is the absolute key to maintaining our personal happiness and endurance over the long haul.
Section 1. God values your work, a reassuring truth. Now, before we get into the deeper mechanics of what motivates us, we really have to start with a foundation of deep empathy. The source text provides this beautifully reassuring fact: Jehovah sees you. Let's read this scripture together to really anchor that thought. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10 says, God is not unrighteous so as to forget your work and the love you showed for his name by ministering and continuing to minister to the holy ones. Just think about the immense relief that brings. Your personal acts of kindness, your late night studying, the times you preached even when the weather was absolutely terrible, or just your quiet patience with a fellow believer. None of that just disappears into a void. This tells us directly that years of faithful service are deeply appreciated and permanently recorded in God's memory. He places immense value on the specific love you show for his name.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it pivots us right into Section 2, a gift, not a wage, the vital mindset shift.
So the massive pivot this concept asks us to make in our own minds is absolutely crucial. There is a huge difference between God deeply valuing our work and us somehow believing we're actually earning our salvation through that work. Because we live in a world driven by economics, right? It's incredibly easy for us to fall into a transactional mindset. From the time we're kids, we're taught that you get what you pay for, and hey, nothing in life is free. We naturally think, okay, I do X, so I deserve Y. We treat relationships like a transaction, payment for services rendered. But the source material makes it crystal clear that we cannot apply human economics to the Creator. While God absolutely appreciates our faithfulness, the gift of his Son is exactly that, a completely free gift. It's not a cosmic wage paid out because we hit some arbitrary quota of spiritual hard work.
And that brings us to this really profound statement. No one is entitled to receive mercy, even after many years of faithful service. I want to gently unpack this one, because at first glance, the idea of giving up our entitlement might sound, well, a bit strict or discouraging. But in reality, letting go of entitlement is literally the most liberating thing you can do. It frees us from the exhausting, heavy burden of constantly trying to prove we're good enough. It means we can finally stop trying to balance this impossible cosmic ledger. When we step off the treadmill of trying to earn our life, we realize that we don't have to keep a perfect score to be loved. The pressure is completely off.
So the crucial point is the sheer gravity of holding on to that transactional mindset. The source text frames the alternative quite seriously. It says if we were to claim that we have earned mercy, we would in effect be saying that Christ died for nothing. And this echoes the profound thought found in Galatians 2:21. Treating our service like a wage actually disrespects and diminishes the magnitude of the ransom sacrifice. Think about it. If we could simply work hard enough to buy our own salvation, then Christ's sacrifice was just, an unnecessary backup plan. But it wasn't. It is the only way. We can never, ever work hard enough to buy what has already been freely given to us out of boundless love.
Section 3. The Apostle Paul's motivation, a case study in joyful zeal.
If anyone in all of history could have felt they worked hard enough to earn something, it probably would have been the Apostle Paul. He is the ultimate historical example of someone who just worked tirelessly. I mean, we're talking about a man who endured unbelievable hardships, shipwrecks, lashings, imprisonment, cold, sleepless nights, the whole shebang. Yet he never viewed his massive volume of service as a transaction. Which brings us to a really fascinating strategic question. If Paul knew he couldn't earn God's favor, why did he work so hard? Think deeply about that for a second. If the entitlement mindset is completely off the table, what's the fuel? What keeps someone going through endless trials and rigorous ministry if there's no definitive wage to be earned at the end of it all?
And this brilliantly illustrates the answer. He worked not to prove himself deserving, but to show appreciation for Jehovah's undeserved kindness. You can actually compare this to the sentiment in Ephesians 3:7. Paul's incredible, unstoppable zeal was simply the natural, joyful result of deep appreciation. Actually, that phrase right there, undeserved kindness, is everything. Paul recognized that he was entirely unworthy of the gift he'd been given, but that realization didn't make him feel worthless. Not at all. It made him overwhelmingly grateful. His service was a reaction, not a transaction. He wasn't serving to be loved by God. He was serving because he recognized he was already loved so deeply and unconditionally.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our final thoughts. Section 4. Serving with a grateful heart. Transforming our daily service.
We've seen Paul's historical example, but how does this shift from wage earning to appreciation directly impact your daily routine right now? Well, when our core motivation shifts, look at what happens. We still serve zealously. We still perform personal acts of kindness. We show love for His name, and we minister to the holy ones. On the outside, the actions look exactly the same as they did before, but the engine driving them, it's been completely replaced. It's like a car. It looks the exact same on the outside whether it's sputtering along on fumes or running smoothly on a full tank of premium fuel. But the ride is entirely different. Shifting our motivation away from fear, obligation, or trying to earn a wage and moving it toward a profound showing of appreciation is exactly what fuels sustainable, joyful service every single day. It completely turns an exhausting obligation into a beautiful, energized expression of love.
For more information, please visit jw.org. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon to get the notification for new explainers. As we wrap up today, I really want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. The next time you head out into your ministry or go to help a brother in need, pause and ask yourself, am I clocking in for a wage right now, or am I unwrapping a gift? Keep that joyful zeal alive, and we'll see you next time.